in your book, you talk about like overcoming some of the false foundations that were planted in our heads and some of these beliefs that we have that are kind of underlying that. And I love that you work from the mindset perspective first. So in the beginning, the first S, stop believing the myths. What are some of the ways that we can kind of uncover maybe some of those beliefs that we have that are holding us back so that we can build from that foundation that you were just talking about?
Well, the first step to any change, personal or business, is awareness. So if you're not aware that you struggle with the broken cookie effect, if you're not aware that you believe certain things about money, about how you spend money or bring in money, how you, one of the very common frustrations that women struggle with is feeling greedy if they charge more. That's a belief that I'm somehow not a good person if I charge more. I'm not being fair to my prospect or my client. And that's a false foundation. If you believe that, then you're really not pricing for value. And if that's the case, what you're communicating, both verbally and silently, is that maybe they should question the value. And we don't ever want anyone to question our value. So remember that you may be sending silent messages, kind of those subliminal messages, in addition to what you're talking about in your business. So stop believing the myths sounds simple, and it is the hardest of the 4 steps. It's also why it's the first step, because it's the book and what I talk about is to raise awareness of some of these beliefs that you've had since you were a child. In most cases, they're very ingrained in us. And then it impacts what we can do in our lives and our businesses. And I'll give you another example. A lot of us that are experts have been raised on the hourly billing model. And it's kind of drilled into us as we start our careers, especially because I work with a lot of accountants and attorneys. Mm-hmm. And that is a huge problem because the service that you're providing to your clients is likely transformational. And you want it to have a lot of impact. That's why we do what we do. And you're providing a transformational service, but you're charging in a transactional way. So there's a disconnect.
There's straight incongruency from the very beginning.
Exactly. And not only is there a disconnect for you, but there's a disconnect for your buyer. And they may wonder, it's a kind of, think about it as humans, we often believe that high price equates with high value and low price equates with low value. I often use the retail example of Walmart, Macy's, and Neiman Marcus. And you can buy a blouse in all 3 stores. But which woman shops in which store depends on what she thinks is important, how much money she has to spend. And I'm generally a Macy's shopper. But if I were buying something for a wedding or some special event, I might shop at Neiman Marcus because I put extra importance on whatever that event is. Mm-hmm. So that is very much what we're doing with the pricing in our business, is if you're pricing hourly and you haven't cracked the code of how to price for value, your hidden advantage can really help you, because I give you those first steps of how you can think differently and then ultimately operate differently so that you start to understand your value better and your pricing accordingly.